Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Got you a forecast on your Monday. First, the flood watches. We're down to one last day and one county in the state with a flood watch down in Mercer County until 8 p.m. tonight, watching for the potential of excessive rain. There's generally a slight chance of a general thunderstorm today, so not expecting severe weather. That slowly moving front we've been watching for a week plus, it is finally south of us. There's a trough extending north of that for one more day. Until high pressure comes in, dries us out, and we'll have an extended stretch of transitioning into much hotter weather now. High of 81 in Charleston yesterday. Fly Cedar forecast, it starts at home. Still a number of these cities I'll be watching for some chances of showers and storms. In some areas, still some concerns with heat out there too. Washington, D.C. potentially back near 98 by Wednesday, so more heat for them later this week again. From Panhandle to Panhandle, highs approach 90. We're likely dry up here. There's probably a less than 10% chance of an afternoon shower and storm. Highs mid-80s to near 90. For the eastern Panhandle and some of the high elevation spots, we got some 70s, mid-80s. Lots of sunglasses and sunscreen sunshine today. We go venture here, some slight chances of showers and storms, around a 20% chance of an isolated shower and storm today. Parkersburg near 86, Huntington 87, Bluefield 72. Again, a flood watch. Mercer County until 8 p.m. today. So we're starting to progress away from all the rounds of up to heavy and excessive rain. Highs near 90 tomorrow, 89, but there will be higher heat index values too, with dew points in the ranks of the 60s and 70s. Be mindful of some patchy morning fog too. Backdoor type cold front drops in from the north-northeast for the end of the week and the weekend. So Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, I'll have to watch for some increasing chances of passing showers and storms by then.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Coming up this morning, the clothing vouchers for needy families program back on, albeit a little late. We'll dive into that. The latest on the sudden passing of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, and Brad McElhinny will join us from the Eastern Panhandle, where the governor was on hand for an economic development announcement this morning. It's Metro News Talkline, and we are underway.
Not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the Metro News Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is Metro News Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set line uplink. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Cue Dave and TJ. You're on. Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Getting the week started in the Encova Insurance Studios. Say good morning to our great radio affiliates across the state of West Virginia, or if you are watching on the Metro News TV app. We certainly appreciate you letting us be part of your day. You can be part of this show. All you got to do is give us a call, 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. Text us at 304-TALK-304. Gang's all here. Sophia Wasik handles the audio side of things this morning. Jake Link is our video producer. And, of course, TJ's in Charleston. I'm here in Morgantown. Coming up a little bit later on this morning, Scott MacFarlane from D.C. will stop by. More reactions to the increased strikes on Iran. Also reactions from D.C. on the passing of Lindsey Graham. Second hour, Roane County Schools Superintendent Michelle Stellato will join us. Could they actually face a penalty for doing exactly what the State Board of Education told them to do. We'll get into that subject second hour of the program. Say good morning to TJ Meadows down in the Cove Insurance Studios in Charleston. Morning, TJ.
Is the blue, huge Gutenberg Bible going to get Roane County Schools? Good old chapter 18.9a. I mean, is that what we're getting at here? And talk about unintended consequences. I mean, I'll let her explain it, but just another reason, Dave, that we have to take a look at all of this red tape and financial aid, or not financial aid, but school finance formula and all of these things. Just crazy to me.
We'll get into that coming up second hour of the program. Last week we left off talking about the TANF funding and the clothing vouchers for needy families. That had been delayed. Well, over the weekend, or late last week, Department of Human Services announced that applications for school clothing allowance vouchers will be accepted starting July 20th. What changed? I'm not sure anybody's got a good answer to that, but we'll pose the question to Amelia Knisley on loan from West Virginia Watch, favorite guest of my mother, and fresh off her appearance on the cable news networks yesterday. Good morning, Amelia.
Good morning. Wow, what an intro. Thank you.
That's not bad, not bad. Do you have any idea what changed with these clothing vouchers?
No, I don't, and that's frustrating as a reporter. I ran into, as I was bopping around Charleston this weekend, I had a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, thank goodness." Thank you to the lawmakers, thank you to the press for putting pressure. And I'm like, I'm glad to see this was resolved, but I don't have a reason why. So I still don't feel like the story has been finalized for me.
I would assert, I will defer to your judgment if you wish to answer this question. I don't think it should be let go. I think there should be a reason why. I'm glad that we now have it figured out. I'm glad that people who need this have certainty. I still want to know why we put people through, 2 weeks, a week and a half, whatever it was, of not knowing whether or not this program was going to be available.
And I think the bigger question is, and something I'm working on this week, there are other programs funded by TANF that now we don't know, could they be held up? I have other ones that I've been contacted by sources that still have not seen their funding come through for this summer. So I think there is this larger question too. Are we going to relive this week after week this summer? Because we just went through this with the family support centers a few weeks ago. Now it was the clothing voucher program. We fund so many things through TANF. It is one of the broadest federal programs. It supports so many programs for low-income families and foster children in West Virginia. So I think that why is really critical, because it's like, are we going to continue to see potential funding cuts for the rest of the year?
Amelia Knisley joining us on loan from West Virginia Watch. We've talked to state lawmakers. You've talked to state lawmakers. Part of the why here, Amelia, is we still don't know exactly what kind of governor says there's a structural deficit, $40 million. We've yet to really get any details on what the problem is, so you can begin to cobble together a solution if one is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every lawmaker I spoke with last week, including lawmakers in leadership in the Senate and House, have asked for very detailed documents. Actually, I'm not going to say very detailed. I'm going to say basic documents of where every TANF dollar is going, and they said they haven't received them. And I know Brad McElhinny has requested that. I've requested it, and none of us have seen that. And so I think that's really a starting point, is lawmakers want to know, where is every TANF dollar going? And it leads them to question, is this money being stored away for a pet project of the governor's? Or I think it was Delegate Sean Hornbuckle, minority leader in the House, who said, is it possible that we're facing a financial crisis and this money is being stored away to, deal with a looming deficit? I don't know, but I think when there's not enough information coming from the executive branch, it prompts a lot of very serious questions.
Is it a fair characterization to believe that if the data was driving this decision to stall this program or take a look at it and see if we could truly afford it, is it a fair characterization to believe if it was data-driven and not politically motivated or some other motivation, those documents would be readily available?
Yes,
no?
Absolutely. And that's something that Delegate Evan Orrell, Republican from Cabell County, said. He and I both have seen these TANF spending documents in the past. I've reported on TANF for years. He has seen this as he has worked on the budget. He's on the finance committee. So he was saying to me on the phone last week, it seems like a document that's a control P, right? Like a control print. There it is. He didn't say that, but yeah, he was like, it's very easily printable.
Sure.
And so I think, it definitely begs some questions. So now we've seen, Delegate Worrell, I've seen others say, thank you, Governor, for releasing this funds. They definitely want to work, hopefully, in a cohesive manner in collaboration with the governor, but there is this big looming question mark of what exactly are we dealing with? Because when we made the budget, this TANF deficit was never never brought up. And I think it's also worth noting there have been a lot of cuts at the federal level. I think federal spending is going to really overshadow next session. I think this is like we're on the on-ramp to that.
And if there is a deficit, good on the governor for identifying it. If COVID dollars were being used to finance these projects, these programs indefinitely, good on the governor for finding them. If federal spending is a concern moving forward, good on the governor for identifying that. Just tell us. I think that's what we just want to know, what do you know that is causing you this much concern so we can fix the problem heading into January?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's totally crazy to think that there obviously was more federal dollars coming into West Virginia during the pandemic. I think where things start falling apart is the lack of documentation. And there's also this other thing that I keep saying to lawmakers, we could fund these programs through state dollars, right? Like with the child care subsidy program, which is one that's on the potential chopping block or changes because we're running out of TANF dollars. Why is the only answer kicking kids off the program? Is there an answer where we backfill it with state dollars? So I think that's something that has to be part of the conversation too. Is there any chance that we're going to take on paying for these things ourselves?
Welfare reform, that's a worthy topic. We can talk about that and debate that. One of the issues that I believe is being lost as I look at the narrative, especially on what is getting harder and harder and to look at, which is social media, but the narrative is that's being lost in the narrative, rather. We're talking about children here. Oh, well, I don't want to pay for that. These are children. Right? I'm all about the sweat of the brow, pulling somebody up by their bootstraps, whatever cliche you want to use. But these are kids. They can't do that. So we have a responsibility to them as West Virginians, as a civil society, to take care of those kids if their parents haven't. I don't like that. I know no one likes that, but that's the way the world works.
This is a very long-standing program. Someone tweeted me over the week, or posted on X, over the weekend that this was started by Shelley Moore Capito's father, which I didn't know. It's very long-standing, but I think as a reporter, I definitely have a heart for children. That's something I'm passionate about as a mom and reporter. I also am very passionate about following taxpayer money. So my favorite legislative committee, one of them is post audits. We learn insane things about fraud and waste in that committee, right? We've heard things about Medicaid, this and that. I have never heard even a whisper of fraud in the clothing voucher program.
Interesting.
I'm not going to say it hasn't happened, right? Most social service programs, something can go wrong, but that's not a conversation I've even heard potentially has fraud. So if the governor was reviewing it to make sure that it wasn't fraudulent, that's a worthy cause, but that's not what we were told. At least that's specifically about that program.
Amelia Knisley joining us from West Virginia Watch. If you are flipping through the cable news shows yesterday, you may have seen Amelia. She was on MS Now. What's going on with the Washington Center? Just a quick refresher, by the way. State lawmakers allocated $3 million to establish the Washington Center for Civics, Culture, and Statesmanship at WVU over the last 2 years, ahead of its official opening this fall. What's going on in Morgantown?
Yes, so it officially opens, next month? And one student has enrolled in 3 courses. They have 18 proposed courses for the fall. I confirmed all this information with WVU. So that's one of the stories. The headline writes itself, one student. Speaker Hanshaw, who was a co-sponsor of this bill, Speaker Roger Hanshaw in the House, he told me that, and WVU explained this to me too, these courses are still going through the accreditation process to count toward a major. So right now, if you were to enroll in one of these classes, one of them is called Woke, one of them is called, I think, the New Right, it would just count toward your general elective. So he and other Republicans who want to see the Washington Center succeed, they believe in it, they feel like it's more of an administrative hurdle. And once they clear this hurdle and they can count toward a political science major or a business major, that enrollment will tick up. But as of now, one student has enrolled in 3 courses.
Whatever happened to the narrative of letting a school decide what they were going to offer in the market? Students can either take it or not take it. And look, this is from a guy who writes all the time about the need for civility of the Constitution. I wrote today, I talk ad nauseum about the Federalist Papers. I'm all on board with this stuff. But this new post-Reagan Republicanism that says, I'm going to bash you over the head with this, to me, seems contrary to what we believe traditionally to be conservative, that the market will decide whether or not they want these offerings.
I think a reason I covered this bill when it passed the legislature in 2025, I think a reason it particularly stung in the WVU community and with others that voted against it was this was on the heels of WVU having to cut 28 majors and had lost around 300 jobs. So I think knowing that they had just gone through this massive budget crunch and some of the higher ed funding formula that lawmakers put into place dictated them cutting their entire foreign language department. On the heels of that, now having a center mandated onto campus, I think, has received a lot of pushback. I mean, it passed pretty overwhelmingly in the House. It had a little bit more of a dicey vote in the Senate. But for people in Morgantown, I don't want to speak for everyone, but most people I've spoken with, it just felt like a big government mandate that stung on the heels of a lot of job loss.
And that sting, Amelia, you go back to the academic transformation there at the end of Gordon Gee's administration. A lot of that was driven by the fact that these programs that got eliminated were because too few students were enrolled in them. Puppetry, foreign language, some of these, there just weren't enough students participating in them, and that's why they were on the chopping block. So to kind of add insult to injury, here's the new program mandated, one student enrolls.
Yeah, that's a great point. I actually hadn't thought about that exactly the way you put it. And yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that was an argument about it. And also a big argument was those programs don't create jobs, which I think could maybe potentially be said about the other courses at the Washington Center. I'm not sure. But I mean, I do get the administrative hurdle. I was a political science major. I could understand you want to take stuff that counts towards your major. You don't want to be in college past 4 years. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it's a great story to follow up on, right? Like what happens next fall if these classes are accredited? What has that enrollment
Did you
become?
graduate from Marshall University in 4 years?
I went to Shepherd,
Oh,
but
Shepherd,
I
okay.
had to actually go an extra year because I got mono in college.
Oh, I was going
Horrible.
to say, if you graduated in 4 years, that's your fault. You should have stuck around and had a good time.
Well, I went to grad school, so I just kept it going. I went to Marshall for grad school.
That's right. You went to Marshall
Why
for
leave?
grad school.
Yeah, like why leave, Yeah. The journalism world was really, back then it was already scary. So I was like, am I going to get a job? Let's go to grad school. But something that I talked about on MS Now yesterday, because they were asking me about the voting demographic in West Virginia, and we have one of the most conservative legislatures in the country. We voted for Trump at one of the highest percentages. It is an interesting look at the children of these voters are not choosing to take these classes at this point. And I do think that's worth noting. We have probably pretty conservative students, going to WVU. I'm not going to say a blanket statement, but I think that's worth noting that we still have a lot of first-gen college students. And when you look at who's voting in the state, they still have at this point made the decision.
Well, isn't that a parent's job? I mean, ask my kids about the Federalist Papers. Oh, Dad goes on and on. Isn't it a parent's job? Isn't it my job to teach my children civics and why we do what we do in this country? I mean, so is it a failure of parents that we need this? I don't know, but I'm just saying, I mean, isn't that my job? Not someone else's? I stumped Amelia.
My kids are so young. We're just now starting those conversations. My 4-year-old wants to know about democracy. No, I'm just kidding.
That's good. Teach them about money, too. Parents don't do that either.
That's true. That's a good point.
How does one end up on MS Now, by the way?
Oh, they just reached out to me.
Out of the blue?
Yeah.
Well, your reporting was everywhere. You were in Europe, for crying out loud. I saw you in an English publication.
Oh, gosh. I thought this story was really interesting as far as one student, like a professor, tipped me off to it 2 months ago. And my reporty spidey senses were like, yes, that's good. Mm-hmm. And so I was excited to write it. But I did not expect it to go to People magazine, to be contacted by MS Now. So yesterday, one of the other questions they asked me is this resonating with readers in West Virginia? And I said, I think so, because even though we're seeing a lot of federal cuts, right? Like we have people that are losing Medicaid or losing their SNAP benefits. We're also seeing people struggling to pay their power bills. It's not always the same pot of money, right? It was state money that funded WVU. Those are federal cuts. It does resonate with people to see government spend $3 million for one student when they're struggling to afford health insurance or access health insurance. So I do feel like it's resonated well with readers, but I did not expect it to go the way it did. So thank you for the readers.
She's a big deal. Amelia Knisley, on loan from West Virginia Watch.
Tell my children that. Thank you.
I think they know.
You can read her work over at westvirginiawatch.com. And, of course, my mother's favorite guest on the program. Amelia, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in this morning.
Happy Monday.
Coming up, we'll get to some of your texts, 304-TALK, 304. Scott MacFarlane will join us from D.C., bottom of the hour.
Are you ready to reach the finish line of retirement? At the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group, we provide comprehensive guidance for retirement planning in West Virginia. With years of experience, we'll draft a plan tailored for your unique goals. Whether you're just starting or nearing retirement, we make the process as simple as possible, easy, and stress-free. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike to set up a complimentary consultation and get started on your plan today. Let's work toward your dream retirement together.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now, you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it.
I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorold.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Scott MacFarlane, Washington Correspondent, MeidasTouch, going to join us bottom of the hour. We'll get an update from Washington, D.C. 304-TALK, 304 is the text line, 800-765-8255, the phone number. Let's get a couple of texts in here. Hey guys, the course that WVU bothers me because it seems to me that Republicans are forcing ideology onto students just like they said liberals were doing. Apparently, in some respects, the free market is working. Nobody wants to pay to take that course, says the texter. Okay. I would argue that there's no such thing as a free market when you get on a college campus, but that's just one guy's take about it. It's not like you have a choice. There are required classes. Look, this is just my take on it. There are required classes. You have to take these classes to get your major. When I was at Marshall, I can tell you about half the classes I was required to take had nothing to do with anything except for justify somebody's existence on campus. Then when you take the class, you got to buy the professor's book that they wrote that nobody would ever buy unless they weren't teaching the class. So free market, in some respects, not always.
But more and more schools are taking a look at that and saying, I don't know that basket weaving needs to be part of the journalism curriculum, and some schools take different tracks on how important that should be, and people make tuition decisions based on that. They spend their dollars at this institution or another institution. It's the way it's supposed to work.
That's the way it's supposed to work. Yes, but once you're in, to say, well, nobody wants to take that class. Well, there are a lot of classes nobody wants to take. You're required to take them. They say
when I
so.
walk,
Make you well-rounded, TJ.
Well-rounded. When I walked on the campus of West Virginia University, Morgantown, in 1999, I was given a catalog. We didn't have this online fancy catalog back then. I was given an actual catalog of what would be required if I wanted to complete my degree in 4 years. This is the rule. This is what you need. Da-da-da-da-da. We can change it at some point, but this will be effective to you, young man. And I knew what I was signing up for.
And let's see where we are in a year when the classes are accredited and will count and possibly count toward a major. When you're required to take the class to get your major, that's a whole different story.
I would audit it. I'm not going to do tests and all that kind of stuff, but I would audit. I went to school for I don't know how many years. I think I'm done.
Did you ever take a class for fun?
Did I ever take a class for
anything that
fun?
wasn't like required as part of your graduation track?
No, because, I worked 40 hours at the West Virginia Radio Corporation while I was also going through school. So, no, I didn't have a lot of fun time.
Yeah, see, you take what's required and you get out the door in 4 or 4.5 or 5 or 6 years, however long it takes.
No judgments.
Scott MacFarlane going to join us next. We'll get an update from Washington, D.C. a little bit later on. Could Roane County Schools actually face a penalty for doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing? We'll get into that subject in the second hour of the program. Phone number is 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. You can always text us, 304-TALK-304. Scott MacFarlane next. This is Talkline on Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia. It's 10:30. Let's get a news update from the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Solango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Got you a forecast on your Monday. First, the flood watches. We're down to one last day and one county in the state with a flood watch down in Mercer County until 8 p.m. tonight, watching for the potential of excessive rain. There's generally a slight chance of a general thunderstorm today, so not expecting severe weather. That slowly moving front we've been watching for a week plus. It is finally south of us. There's a trough extending north of that for one more day. Until high pressure comes in, dries us out, and we'll have an extended stretch of transitioning into much hotter weather now. High of 81 in Charleston yesterday. Fly-C river forecast, it starts at home. Still a number of these cities, I'll be watching for some chances of showers and storms. In some areas, still some concerns with heat out there too. Washington, D.C. potentially back near 98 by Wednesday, so more heat for them later this week again. From Panhandle to Panhandle, highs approach 90. We're likely dry up here. There's probably a less than 10% chance of an afternoon shower and storm. Highs mid-80s to near 90. For the eastern Panhandle and some of the high elevation spots, we got some 70s, mid-80s. Lots of sunglasses and sunscreen sunshine today. We go venture here, some slight chances of showers and storms, around a 20% chance of an isolated shower and storm today. Parkersburg near 86, Huntington 87, Bluefield 72. Again, a flood watch. Mercer County until 8 p.m. today. So we're starting to progress away from all the rounds of up to heavy and excessive rain. Highs near 90 tomorrow, 89, but there will be higher heat index values too, with dew points in the ranks of the 60s and 70s. Be mindful of some patchy morning fog too. Backdoor type cold front drops in from the north-northeast for the end of the week and the weekend. So Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, I'll have to watch for some increasing chances of passing showers and storms by then.
This is Ben Solango with Solango Law. Solango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Solango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Solango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at solangolaw.com.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
Have you forgotten the words you said to me? This guy, this glasses wearing, he's like, man, Dave Allen's been at it all day. No producer. And he says this to me while I'm actively producing Metro News Midday. So just to illustrate what it's like to not have a producer, Coop, why don't you take 5 for a second?
Hotline on Metro News Television.
304 Talk 304. That is the text line, 800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. Got a couple of texts to the bat phone there during the break, TJ. One loyal listener here in the Morgantown area, and it does not surprise me. I won't sell him out, but he said, of course I took classes for fun, which, if you know this guy, it totally tracks. Does not surprise me at all. Got another text that said, why would I ever take a class that wasn't required, Dave? Well, right on, man. You're right on with it.
I have to admit, I sometimes take my wife's exams because I haven't had an. I do. Not only do I pass, I excel, sir. And if I can do it, her students can do it. So that's kind of the bar. She's like, guys, you guys did really bad on this. My idiot husband got to be. Come on, guys. I mean, so that's kind of the, I guess, litmus test, right?
I went out and I asked producer Jake if he was a guy who took, and by fun, what I mean is it doesn't count toward your credit, to graduating.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he said no. I did take a couple like phys ed classes in college, things you were going to do anyway. Might as well get a credit hour for them.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, outside of that, I was forced to take art appreciation, TJ. And if you know me, I can appreciate some art. But a required cultural credit of some sort, I believe. Art appreciation. There's, 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. But nonetheless.
Tell us how you really feel about it, Dave.
Well, at least the professor at the time, she got it. We were all there because we had to be. She said, this is how you will get an A. Do these things, you will get an A. You can move on with your life. And we did. 304 Talk 304. That's the text line. 800-765-8255. A guy who probably still takes college classes for fun. Joining us on MetroNews Talkline this morning, Chief Correspondent for MeidasTouch, Scott MacFarlane. Hey, Scott. Good morning.
Good morning. I can't be the only person who took a class because there was an attractive person in the class I was pursuing. I can't, and only for that reason. I can't be the only guy who did that.
Well, my wife was in the business school, so she was over there taking all those classes like, economics and these business administration classes while I was over there learning the difference between, prepositional phrases and how to dig down and ask those tough questions, Scott. So
Fair enough. It's good to be here, guys.
Scott, I signed up for women's studies, and it turns out that class was not about what I thought it was going to be about.
But you had to like the ratio in the room, TJ. That had to work in your favor.
I needed something in my favor, sir. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Hey, Scott, lots to get to this morning out of Washington, D.C. First and foremost, the sudden news that I think caught everybody by surprise, and that was the sudden passing of Senator Lindsey Graham over the weekend.
It's shocking, and you don't want to spend the day after shocking news talking about the politics of it, but they don't have that luxury, Dave. They've got to get after this. They're going to stand up an emergency primary election for Lindsey Graham's successor July 21st. That is, by the back of my cocktail napkin math, 8 days from now. They're going to have that primary election in less than a month to decide the Republican nominee for a Senate seat whose previous occupant before Lindsey Graham was born in 1902. That seat doesn't come open very often, and Republicans have got to move swiftly to figure out how to find a candidate for a race they didn't think they were going to have. And oh, by the way, that's no layup. It's a competitive race potentially in South Carolina because Democrats are bullish on their prospect, Dr. Annie Andrews. So they're going to mourn Lindsey Graham in the U.S. Senate. His colleagues, both parties, have had some really nice things to say about him, but they've got to move and swiftly because the margins in the U.S. Senate are wafer thin.
What names are surfacing in that special election, Scott?
One name that may be recognizable to those who don't live in South Carolina, a guy by the name of Joe Wilson, 78 years old, has been in the U.S. House a long time, has the same type of background as Graham, House Foreign Affairs issues, armed services issue, a military hawk like Lindsey Graham is. Joe Wilson may be best known outside of South Carolina for being the guy in 2009 who screamed, "You lie," at President Obama during Obama's State of the Union address. And Joe Wilson, I swear to you, was the author of legislation to print new $250 bills, new U.S. currency in the $250 denomination with Donald Trump's face on the bill. Starting to think he may have Donald Trump's support as he tries to secure the Republican primary nomination if he chooses to do so.
Would that cause a problem in the House, though? Or what would be the ramifications there?
A great question. He does not want to be the temporary senator to finish the rest of this year of Lindsey Graham's term. They're going to need one of those two, Dave, but he doesn't want that job because that would make an even narrower majority in the U.S. House. He's keen potentially on getting that job for next year. At the same point, somebody would succeed him in the U.S. House, and it would undoubtedly be another Republican, so nothing would be lost there.
It's an interesting juxtaposition. I mean, you've probably heard some of these names too. There was some Nancy Mace rumblings. There was some Nikki Haley rumblings. There's Joe Wilson. The governor in South Carolina would seem to be in a tough spot because you probably want to put someone in temporarily that is not seeking the position if you're trying to stay neutral. What, if any, thoughts you have about that?
Going to have to pick somebody who doesn't want the job full time because it would be viewed as interfering with the primary that's going to be uniquely heated this month. So he's got to have I suppose, somebody to be a placeholder. His lieutenant governor is somebody who'll be out of a job when their terms end at the end of the year. Maybe his lieutenant governor wants the job. We obviously remember when this happened when Senator Byrd passed away. Mm-hmm. And then Governor Manchin appointed one of Byrd's longtime aides, Cart Goodwin, to be the senator for the final months of Byrd's term before the election that Manchin eventually won. So you could find a placeholder on the staff or somebody else in the Graham family to just hold the job for now. But this is an important election that they're going to have now with no preparation. They have to stand up a campaign, raise many tens of millions of dollars to run statewide in South Carolina, and they were not ready to do so. So this is a scramble drill out of nowhere. And I think that's the story that defines the week with Senator Graham's passing here in Washington.
Scott MacFarlane joining us, Chief Washington Correspondent, MeidasTouch. Meanwhile, in Kentucky, rumors have been swirling for weeks about the health status of Senator Mitch McConnell. And over the weekend, he posted a picture with his wife. He even held the newspaper with the date to prove it wasn't a fake, even though some people don't believe it. And it seems like maybe his demise was greatly exaggerated.
Couple things jump out at me as we start the day here in Washington. First of all, the freaking newspaper. I mean, is that like ripped out of an old primetime TV show to you guys too? What did you make of that?
It makes more sense in 1980 than it does in 2026, but whatever you got to do, I guess, to get your point across. Because even then, Scott, people still are saying it's AI, it's fake, it's generated, it's not real. So.
You know what infuses the AI conspiracy theories? Where are you finding the sports section of a newspaper in the year 2026 at a hospital? Like, how did you procure the hard copy newspaper in the first place? I mean, all of this is beside the point. There is an ongoing, if not increasing, concern about the transparency of elected officials about their health. The New Jersey Congressman Tom Kean went AWOL for 4 months, never explaining to his constituents why he wasn't voting or answering calls, why he was missing. He ended up revealing he was suffering from depression, with which all of us can empathize. But do you have a responsibility as a public official to be clear with your constituents where you are and what your condition is? That same question has been raised by Senator McConnell. Why did it take a full month before the hostage photo newspaper update last night on Senator McConnell's health? This is going to raise the question farther and wider. And I'm old enough to remember covering the health ailments of Senator Byrd when he did go quiet for weeks at his time. But his office did issue updates. They were transparent to a degree in the pre-social media era about what was going on there. I'm not sure in this information overload era in which we're all operating, if we can go radio silent for extended periods of time in public life.
It seems an easy way to have fixed this and prevented all of the uncertainty would just be to pick up the phone or do a FaceTime connect or something, your medium of choice, Zoom, what have you, with Andy Beshear, who is a Democratic governor in your state, who would then probably, more than likely, come forward and say, yes, I've talked to the senator, da-da-da-da-da. Instead, you've got Beshear issuing these letters, and some folks have been critical of him. I haven't, because what choice did he have? I feel like if the McConnell camp wasn't stepping up and letting people know what is happening, they backed Beshear into a corner as the governor of Kentucky.
TJ, I couldn't agree more. It really was damning that Beshear had to go public to say, hey, what is your condition? I'm trying to get calls returned and I'm not. That he had to issue a public memo and then a public social media post calling on Senator McConnell to answer questions about his health means all the back channel stuff wasn't working. And I'm dumbfounded that the back channel stuff didn't work. And when the governor calls and asks how you're doing, you have a responsibility, no matter what your party is or his party is, to just give him the information so you can avoid the governor going public and making all of this into a farce. I think this is perhaps a lesson others in public life can learn from how you mishandle a situation the way the McConnell team did. But I'm also not surprised by it because Dave and TJ, he's the boss. He's the one who could authorize and approve stuff. And if he's not in commission, the staff doesn't know what to do. There's nobody to sign off on anything because only McConnell signs off on things in a legislative office. They were probably chasing their own tail.
Scott MacFarlane joining us, chief correspondent, Washington correspondent, MeidasTouch. Also, you can see him on YouTube. Scott MacFarlane reports. The memorandum of understanding, that's pretty much out the door at this point. Ramped up strikes on Iran over the weekend. Is there any talk of that? With everything else going on, is there much talk of that in D.C. this week?
There is, in part because it looks like we're at war again over control of the Strait of Hormuz, something that was not in dispute before February 28th and the launching of the war. But there are going to be questions asked of Senators Justice and Senator Capito about what do we do about money for this? Taxpayers are going to have to come out of pocket for another $80+ billion per the administration's latest request to pay back the bills of what's already been expended in Iran and the bills that are forthcoming. It's a tough spot for local Republicans because they may have fatigue from their constituents of the war and of spending taxpayer money on things at a time when the grocery bill costs $200 a week now. And they're going to have to grapple with that this week as they return to Washington. I expect the senators to be back from West Virginia here to D.C. this afternoon. We'll have questions for them tonight and tomorrow.
It seems like that fatigue, Scott, is also rooted in let's make a decision. We are either going to have some finality about this or we're going to continue to dance around the issue and entertain talks and nothing gets done. We know Iran's history. They're not an honest counterparty. It seems like Americans, it seems like West Virginians are craving some kind of finality. Yes, we are going to end this. Yes, we are going to take the defining military action or we're not. But what are we going to do? Let's have a decision around it.
You can tell Iran really is feeling its leverage right now. I mean, TJ, it's not just that they have control of the Strait of Hormuz, through which they can exert all kinds of influence worldwide over oil prices, but they are not ignorant to the political calendar here. We're 113 days. Can you believe it? 113 days from the elections, and they know they've got Trump and incumbents of both parties in a jam right now. The anti-establishment fervor is not a Republican dynamic. It is a universal American dynamic. You have Democrats getting ousted, Republicans endangered. There is this almost political fervor created in our country, and Iran knows it. So they know for the next 113 days, they have even amplified leverage over the U.S. And that's how we get all these false promises of a deal's coming, a deal's coming. Iran may be indicating a deal's coming, but they're never going to close the deal because they recognize they've never had so much leverage in this war as they do over the next 113 days.
All right, before we let you go, we have to bring up the highly controversial topic of daylight saving time.
Nice.
What are we doing away with it? Are we going to add another one? What are we doing?
Yes, the U.S. House is considering legislation to make either daylight saving time or daylight standard time a 12-month dynamic. This crap comes up every few years. It nearly passed. It was a whisker away from passing in 2022 when somebody in the House said, holy God, the Senate just passed this thing. You understand it means the kids will be walking to school in the dark at 9 a.m. in my district, and they stopped it. They're going to try it again. Trump likes getting rid of daylight saving time, but I've watched the politics of this over years, Dave. It's neighborhood by neighborhood, how people fall on this. It's wonderful if you live in New England and the sun sets way too early. It's brutal if you live in like West Michigan and the sun sets at 10:30 p.m. Nobody is of one mind of this. So they're going to try to pass it in the U.S. House as early as this week. We'll see where it goes.
Does anyone ever harken back to why we did this in the first place and then ask the question, well, is that still relevant today?
In the 1970s, during an oil embargo and crisis, it seemed to make sense. It seemed to. it's just, you're going to guarantee people get ticked off, and that usually is Congress's way of getting out of something. If you're definitely going to tick some people off, don't worry about the people you're pleasing. Avoid, and it's an election year.
Well, you're an objective journalist. I was going to ask if you're for it or against it there, Scott, but we'll, just report on the facts.
I'm going to take a stand on things like puppy dogs are cute, Lucky Charms cereal is yummy, and daylight savings time needs to stay the way it is. We're not going to go walking my kid to the school bus at 9 a.m. in the dark with a flashlight. We're not doing that.
You can see him on YouTube. Scott MacFarlane reports. Chief Washington Correspondent, MeidasTouch. Always a pleasure, Scott. Thanks so much for the update.
I got you guys. Keep it up.
We'll get to the text line. 304-TALK. 304 is the text line. Phone number is 800-765-TALK. 800-765-8255. This is Talkline from the Incoba Insurance Studios.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Located in the heart of West Virginia, Bridgeport is the place to play. Endless indoor and outdoor recreation opportunities, including the Bridgeport Complex, coupled with a dynamic food scene, make Bridgeport the perfect getaway destination for couples and families. Explore unique shopping and pick from a wealth of lodging options to find something perfect for your needs. Explore the heart of West Virginia in Bridgeport. Learn more about all there is to do at greater-bridgeport.com.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Didn't realize how long we went with Scott there. We're a little bit behind, but I do have time to tell you the jackpots are growing. In West Virginia, jackpots are on the rise every week. Powerball hits Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. That's 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Play in store and online. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. The Powerball jackpot is $478 million. Mega Millions jackpot is $637 million. So go ahead, play today. Some of you have been texting in the classes you took in college for fun. I'm using air quotes. This texter says, I had to take art appreciation and music appreciation for a math degree, and I took lifeguarding and badminton for fun. Yeah. I took softball. I got a credit hour for playing softball one fall at Marshall. Texter, by the way, that's the same texter from Morgantown said he took classes for fun. Economic geography was the class that he took for fun. That's suspect at best. Producer Ethan has chimed in, by the way, TJ. This will shock you. Okay. Producer Ethan told me, took classes for fun, but doubt you would find them fun. That's probably a fair assessment. Also graduated 4 years plus a summer to graduate, says Producer Ethan. Well done, sir. Well done. Nobody asked. I kid because I care. Texter says,
give that guy a complex, man.
Probably. Women who are in women's studies aren't interested in men. In fact, they're militantly opposed to men. Sorry, just the truth. I took a women's study class, pass or fail, for that very reason, says the texter. Back to wrap up hour number 1 right after this.
When an injury slows you down, getting back to work safely matters. At WVU Medicine Outpatient Rehabilitation, we focus on helping you recover, rebuild strength, and get back to your life. With work conditioning and return-to-work programs, our occupational therapy team creates personalized plans focused on safety, function, and long-term success. Ask your provider for a referral or visit wvumedicine.org/outpatient rehab.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. For years, rural communities in West Virginia waited for reliable, high-speed internet. Now, fiber is most likely at your front door. Public investment helped build the opportunity, and CityNet delivered the service to homes and businesses just like yours. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can count on, switching to fiber has never been easier. Fast downloads, smooth streaming, better connections for work, school, and everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now, you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Of course, the OVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
I think you need some appropriate business cards now. But you have your own personalized logo.
I got
a marshmallow with 4 toothpicks coming out of it. So congratulations, man. I think you need to announce yourself now.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
Coming up, second hour of the program, Brad McElhinny will join us, bottom of the 11 o'clock hour. He was over in the Eastern Panhandle this morning for an economic development announcement in Berkeley County. Governor Morrissey was there. We'll get the details from Brad. Jared Halpern will join us, Fox News Radio, for an update from D.C. And coming up, could Roane County Schools actually be penalized for doing exactly what they were told to do? We'll get into that next. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Solango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Got you a forecast on your Monday. First, the flood watches. We're down to one last day and one county in the state with a flood watch down in Mercer County until 8 p.m. tonight, watching for the potential of excessive rain. There's generally a slight chance of a general thunderstorm today, so not expecting severe weather. That slowly moving front we've been watching for a week plus, it is finally south of us. There's a trough extending north of that for one more day. Until high pressure comes in, dries us out, and we'll have an extended stretch of transitioning into much hotter weather now. High of 81 in Charleston yesterday. Fly Cedar forecast, it starts at home. Still a number of these cities I'll be watching for some chances of showers and storms. In some areas, still some concerns with heat out there too. Washington, D.C. potentially back near 98 by Wednesday, so more heat for them later this week again. From Panhandle to Panhandle, highs approach 90. We're likely dry up here. There's probably a less than 10% chance of an afternoon shower and storm, highs mid-80s to near 90. For the eastern Panhandle and some of the high elevation spots, we got some 70s, mid-80s. Lots of sunglasses and sunscreen sunshine today. We go venture here, some slight chances of showers and storms, around a 20% chance of an isolated shower and storm today. Parkersburg near 86, Huntington 87, Bluefield 72. Again, a flood watch. Mercer County until 8 p.m. today. So we're starting to progress away from all the rounds of up to heavy and excessive rain. Highs near 90 tomorrow, 89, but there will be higher heat index values too, with dew points in the ranks of the 60s and 70s. Be mindful of some patchy morning fog too. Backdoor type cold front drops in from the north-northeast for the end of the week and the weekend. So Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, I'll have to watch for some increasing chances of passing showers and storms by then.
This is Ben Solango with Solango Law. Solango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Solango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Solango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at solangolaw.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour already in progress. 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. That's the phone number. The text line is 304-TALK-304. Brad McElhinny will join us bottom of the hour. Economic development announcement this morning in Berkeley County. Brad will have the details. Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, will join us as well. Dave in Morgantown, TJ in Charleston. I am told Ethan Collins is our audio producer today. And Jake Link running the video stream. Couple of texts here, 304-TALK-304. I like time the way it is now. Don't think kids need to stand in the dark waiting on school buses. Way government is, they'll never pass anything. Can't work together. At least not trash in there now, says the texter. Tell me how you really feel. 304-TALK-304. Nothing like full-blown publican with bloated gram losses, says the texter. Some of these, can y'all just help me out a little bit? Help me out a little bit. That's all I ask.
It's Siri, dude. People don't type anymore.
Is it text to talk that gets us?
Yeah, that's what gets us. I believe. I would hope that this isn't some other problem. I'll leave it at that. I think Siri gets us. But
I'll tell you what. My problem's not talk to text. It's these giant Vienna sausage fingers that I have trying to use the little keys on the touchscreen, and then you type too fast, and then autocorrect has no idea what you've just said, and then you end up sending a text to somebody. Usually it's fairly somebody important, not somebody like a friend.
Yeah.
Not somebody close that'll laugh and make fun of it. It's like when you're texting with one of the lawmakers, like Speaker Hanshaw. Hey, I need to ask you about this, and it comes out, did you eat a bologna sandwich for lunch? Like, that's not what I texted. Again, it's all because of the fat fingers. Fat fingers get me.
I've just started telling people that, look, it's going to be gibberish. Sometimes you're just going to have to deal with it. Know what's going on. Siri does not like my southern accent, and Okay, fine. Hey, breaking news. The president saying that Governor McMaster should appoint Lindsey Graham's sister to fill the seat. Getting out early this morning saying that. I don't know if that takes any pressure off of the governor in South Carolina. I'm not sure the politics there, not intimately following South Carolina politics, but I mean, that would seem a sensible idea to me.
Sensible, but does it put does it put pressure on the governor then to do what the president has recommended or requested?
Not sure how the politics fall there.
Interesting. We'll continue to follow that. Jared Halpern will join us coming up a few minutes from now. Last week, State School Board was meeting, and among the actions, it did extend the state of emergency for Roane County Schools another 6 months. However, Roane County Schools have made progress in closing a budget deficit, but could they actually be facing a penalty for doing exactly what they've been asked to do? Joining us is the superintendent of schools in Roane County, Michelle Stellato, joining us. Michelle, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk about the good first, then we'll get to the what-if questions. What have you and the administration there in Roane County done over the course of the last year to reduce this budget deficit and get things pointed in the right direction?
Well, as I said last week at the state board meeting, it's been a series of small decisions that have ultimately ended up making a large impact. You know, things from reevaluating our contracts. We looked for a new accounting firm, ended up saving $40,000, $60,000, something like that on that little change. We didn't buy buses. That became a huge thing for us, and it was hard to do because, you know, buses have to be cycled out typically every 12 years. So we made the decision not to buy new buses. And so that added money back into, you know, our usable income reserves. We did things like if a position became eliminated or a position became vacant, we eliminated the position and brought those services in-house. So for example, at the central office, we don't have a custodian. We clean our own offices. We clean our own restrooms, all of that ourselves. That saved the county about $15,000. So little things over time. And then anytime we could reduce, or we had employees volunteer to transfer into positions rather than repost them, we did that. And so, you know, we ended up having less of a deficit than we started with, which we were expected. If you'll remember back a year ago, we were expected to grow that deficit by another $500,000 over the course of this past school year, just because the personnel is set with the timelines, but that did not happen. We were able to mitigate that significantly. We also drove up revenue where we could. So we focused on participation in food service. We looked for grant resources. We brought in several grants last year that helped with our ability to transfer some of those expenditures into grant funds.
Let me break this down. You grew revenue, you cut expenses, you ran the school system like a business, Michelle. Kudos to you. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. I grew up in a small hardware store. My mom and dad were business owners. And at the end of the day, that's what you have to do. When your business is struggling, you have to find a way to cut the costs and raise the revenue. And that's exactly what we tried to do.
So what is the issue facing now? We've teased this. You've done what the State Board of Education, Department of Education has asked. Why could Roane County Schools now be facing a penalty?
So there's a section in code 189A, right? And 189A really deals with the funding formula in general. So if you want to learn about the nuances of the funding formula, that's your place to go. But there's a subsection called 4C in that code that talks about the expected percentage or ratio of professional instructional to professional employees. So when you think about professional instructional, that's teachers, that's technology instruction support, any position that's going to directly serve children. The other professionals like principal or technology director or something like that, those aren't in that P&I ratio, right? So you've got to keep your ratio in a sparsely populated county like Roane at 91.7% or lower. When your when your pie gets so small, right, our professional staff is right at 100 positions. It's a little under 100 positions. Then that means the ability to maintain that ratio gets more and more difficult because the expectations for the non-instructional staff doesn't change. You know, Kanawha County still has to have a federal programs director. I still have to have a federal programs director. So just because we're small, we still have the requirements of making sure the work gets done. So under 189A4C, if that percentage drops below 91% for easy math, then you pay a pro rata penalty for every position. So you're going to be charged the entire state aid amount that you would have received if that ratio were above that minimum. It's very confusing, but in essence, by us cutting so low with our professional staff to make sure that we're operating efficiently, we would love to have 18 more professionals on our books. That means more services to children, but we don't have the resources, the money that would allow us to do that. So when we dropped so low, because in essence, we changed our professional staffing, we dropped 25.8 positions this year, and we dropped 12.9 in service. So that was a change. We're going to be penalized for it because that ratio got too small. I don't know if that's making any sense to you at all, but basically, if it were assessed today, I would be charged for 18 professional positions, which equates to about $1.44 million.
It makes sense that it doesn't make sense. That's what makes sense.
It's quite confusing, and we've been asked, like, why is this just now coming out? It's not just now coming out. We noticed it probably in late November, I think, last year. And so I got right on it with, I don't know if you remember, but we hosted kind of a town hall event with legislators at one of our closing schools. We talked about it there, and the legislators that were in attendance ran with it. We actually got it written into two bills, House Bill 5438, House Bill 5453, to eliminate that penalty, because everyone agrees it wasn't intended to cause this problem, but it is going to cause it for us. It got taken out on March 13th. So they needed to make some changes in the last hours of the session. And this was one of the things that got marked out or eliminated from the language of the bills when they were passing through. I have been told that the legislators hear me and that they're willing to take this up and continue this cause. I have a meeting set up next week, at the end of next week, to meet with House leadership and education to kind of discuss this. But it's really an unintended consequence. I truly believe it was never written to do what it's about to do to us, but here we are.
Michelle, here's what I constantly hear, though, from many people at the State House during the session, and it's this: the legislature needs more direct control over education. The legislature, there's a lawsuit on that, over who controls the education system in West Virginia. Is it the Board of Education from the state, and then as it trickles down to local control, et cetera, or is it the legislature? But if I'm hearing you right, you're telling me that a law that the legislature put in the code in Chapter 18 is what is causing this problem. So help me reconcile that. You've got a group of people that say they need more control, yet what they've already done is going to cost you how many millions of dollars?
1.44 today.
Okay, so
you're absolutely.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say you're absolutely correct, right? Because it's I've got the code book laying in front of me, and it says, it shall suffer a pro rata reduction in allowance for professional educators. There's no waiver process in there. The state board can't provide relief. It's a shall. And we know in code, when it's a shall, and it has to be done. So the only way we can get relief there's two ways. I shouldn't say the only way. I can add those positions back. I can add 18 positions back, and that'll cause my deficit to grow to 3 million. Or we can get, a line added to this code book that either, gives the state board the ability to write a waiver when your professional staff gets below 115. I feel like that's a reasonable number. There's already, I think I might have told you this, but there's 5 counties that pay this penalty already. It's not nearly this high. It might be a half a position over or a fraction of position, but it's not nearly 1.44 million.
Talking to Michelle Stellato, she is the Roane County Schools Superintendent. What option so you don't have any options in the short term to deal with this, or what are your options?
Correct. So in personnel season, a district could cut additional non-instructional personnel, right? So in our case, we could elect to cut all 3 assistant principals in our schools that are over 400 students. That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? We could eliminate another director position, which would require more hats to be put on the existing directors. But really, when you start looking at what's required, we're at a very small, everyone always says top heavy. But if you look at actually what we have in Roane County, we're probably one of the most efficiently operated central offices that you'll find. So the other option would be to add those 18 positions back, right? Because that would work out my ratio difference, but that's going to cost me, more than $1.44 $1.44 million to do that, because the state board reimburses at the 200-day salary, and you might have extended contracts, and it's on an average. So they reimburse, or not reimburse, but they pay on an average salary, and they pay a 200-day contract, right? So anybody that's over 200-day contracts, we're already in the hole. And anybody that's worked here for 35 years, and the average is, based off a 10-year salary, we're paying over on that as well. Like, I know I'm getting into the weeds here, but basically it's not a dollar for dollar trade. It's we're going to pay you X number of positions on your average salary, and then you have to figure out all the extra on top of that.
Here's what I heard you say. Chapter 18 prohibits you from running an efficient organization.
Yes.
Fair?
Fair.
Then what's next? What do we do here? Because every time I talk to somebody, it's always 18. It's always 18, 18A, 18. What's the deal? I mean, and as far as this money, where's the money go? You said 5 other counties have been assessed, not as deeply as you would, but to me, that's like one state trooper who's on duty writing the other state trooper who's on duty a speeding ticket, and the state pays for it. I mean, where's the money go?
That's a great question. I know it doesn't come to us. So we don't write a check back. That's a great point. We don't write a check back. It just gets deducted from what we get in an allowance. So that's why the other 4 counties.
With it? They do what with it?
Great question. I don't know if it stays at the legislature. I don't know if it stays. I don't believe it goes to the State Department, but I don't know where the money goes.
Michelle Stellato, Roane County Schools Superintendent. We're going to have to finish with many more questions than answers today, but I appreciate you bringing this up. Thank you very much for the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Michelle Stellato, Roane County Schools Superintendent. I feel like I need a whiteboard. 800-765-TALKS, the phone number. 304-TALK, 304, the text line. Jared Halpern joins us next.
For over 30 years, High Technology Foundation has been committed to building a stronger West Virginia. Our mission, economic diversification. By fostering innovation and supporting tech initiatives, we pave the way for a brighter future. From cutting-edge research to tech-driven solutions, we're transforming the landscape. Join us in creating opportunities and driving progress. Let's build a diverse economy together. Visit WVHTF.org. High Technology Foundation, shaping West Virginia's future.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it.
I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorod.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure,
we really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
South Carolina Governor McMaster will hold a news conference at 4 o'clock this afternoon. President Trump has recommended that the South Carolina governor appoint Lindsey Graham's sister to fill in temporarily there after his sudden passing over the weekend. Let's go to Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern for more. Jared, this is moving quickly regarding that seat in the Senate.
Well, it has to move quickly for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want to have an empty Senate seat if you're a governor for very long. And in most states, governors can move pretty quick to at least temporarily fill a vacancy. In this case, President Trump's recommendation to appoint Lindsey Graham's sister, Darlene Graham Nordone, actually is one that appears to be moving in that direction. Governor McMaster had said that he is inclined to have a caretaker take over this term, not somebody who is running for that seat, doesn't want to give somebody kind of that incumbency advantage. Recall that just a couple of months ago, Lindsey Graham won the Republican primary. He was the Republican nominee to run for re-election this year. So they are now having this kind of rocket primary that will happen next month. A number of Republicans are expected to jump into that race. It will probably be very crowded. It will probably be very contentious. And whoever emerges from that certainly would have the inside track on a full Senate term, of 6 years. So, for McMaster, things are moving quickly because the state law kind of dictates they have to move quickly.
Talk a little bit about Graham's relationship with Trump. I read a piece this morning that called Lindsey Graham the whisperer in chief. Talk about that relationship.
In a few ways. So I think it's important to remember how Lindsey Graham evolved on his views of President Trump. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when Trump was running for the Republican nomination for the first time, Graham was a fierce critic. He said that if Trump emerged as the Republican nominee, it would be the end of the Republican Party as we know it. He talked about these kind of historic electoral losses. Obviously, that did not happen. And in the year since, Graham became closely aligned with the president. They frequently played golf with each other. And Graham was known as the Trump whisperer at times because he was kind of the liaison between the establishment kind of Senate that, wanted to do things the way that they have always been done in the Senate, and President Trump, who had an ambitious agenda and wanted to shake things up. And so he was kind of viewed as the intermediary who could kind of speak in both languages, right? He could talk to the president to make the Senate argument to him. He could speak to the Senate to make the president's argument to them. He also, because of his roles in the Senate with the Armed Services Committee and Foreign Affairs Committee, knew a lot of world leaders, and in many ways is viewed as being kind of that figure who kept Trump supporting Ukraine, even when the president seemed to indicate he was going to back away from that. It was often Lindsey Graham who was able to kind of make that case. And in fact, one of the last conversations we believe Lindsey Graham had was with President Trump following his trip over the weekend to Ukraine, meeting with Zelensky, getting a deal that allows Ukraine access to these Patriot missile systems.
Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern. Jared, senators returning back from their recess. What's the buzz in Washington today?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of memorials to Lindsey Graham. He was liked universally. Yes, there were a lot of political disagreements, but Lindsey Graham loved being a senator, and because of that was involved in almost every issue, which meant that he was often in these gangs. We always talk about these gangs in the Senate that were trying to work on some sort of bipartisan proposal. Lindsey Graham was a member of all of them because he enjoyed the work, and because of that had great relationships with senators across the aisle. And he was known as one of the funniest senators, had a good relationship. Everybody liked him. They didn't always agree with him, but he was really well liked and kind of a creature of the Senate in that old school kind of way.
Is he among the last, I hate to say it this way, Jared, but the last of those old school type senators?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like fewer and fewer of those are around. I think what you wonder now is, does his influence rub off? But you're right. I think that, just the politics, the way that we talk about politics has become very tribal. That wasn't really how Lindsey Graham was. He believed that everybody was working to the same cause. They just had different paths to get there. And so maybe this is an opportunity for the Senate to remember that influence and return to it.
Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern. Jared, we always appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Sure thing.
Coming up, Brad McElhinny will join us. He was in the Eastern Panhandle this morning where state officials, including Governor Morrisey, announced a new economic development in Berkeley County, manufacturing of artificial intelligence and autonomous military systems. You have my attention. We'll get to your text as well, 304-TALK-304. That is the text line. Phone calls are always welcome at 800-765-TALK, 800-765-8255. TJ in Charleston, I'm David Morgantown. This is Talkline on Metro News. Of course, Metro News. For 40 years, Metro News has been the voice of West Virginia. It is 11:30 and time to get a news update. Let's check in on the Metro News Radio Network, find out what's happening all across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Selango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Got you a forecast on your Monday. First, the flood watches. We're down to one last day and one county in the state with a flood watch down in Mercer County until 8 p.m. tonight, watching for the potential of excessive rain. There's generally a slight chance of a general thunderstorm today, so not expecting severe weather. That slowly moving front we've been watching for a week plus, it is finally south of us. There's a trough extending north of that for one more day. Until high pressure comes in, dries us out, and we'll have an extended stretch of transitioning into much hotter weather now. High of 81 in Charleston yesterday. Fly Cedar forecast, it starts at home. Still a number of these cities, I'll be watching for some chances of showers and storms. In some areas, still some concerns with heat out there too. Washington, D.C. potentially back near 98 by Wednesday, so more heat for them later this week again. From Panhandle to Panhandle, highs approach 90. We're likely dry up here. There's probably a less than 10% chance of an afternoon shower and storm. Highs mid-80s to near 90. For the Eastern Panhandle and some of the high elevation spots, we got some 70s, mid-80s. Lots of sunglasses and sunscreen sunshine today. We go venture here, some slight chances of showers and storms, around a 20% chance of an isolated shower and storm today. Parkersburg near 86, Huntington 87, Bluefield 72. Again, a flood watch. Mercer County until 8 p.m. today. So we're starting to progress away from all the rounds of up to heavy and excessive rain. Highs near 90 tomorrow, 89, but there will be higher heat index values too, with dew points in the ranks of the 60s and 70s. Be mindful of some patchy morning fog too. Backdoor type cold front drops in from the north-northeast for the end of the week and the weekend. So Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, I'll have to watch for some increasing chances of passing showers and storms by then.
This is Ben Selango with Selango Law. Selango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Selango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Selango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at selangolaw.com.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
Have you forgotten the words you said to me? This guy, this glasses wearing, he's like, man, Dave Allen's been at it all day. No producer. And he says this to me while I'm actively producing Metro News Midday. So just to illustrate what it's like to not have a producer, Coop, why don't you take 5 for a second?
Hotline on Metro News Television.
Text line is 304 Talk 304. We'll get some of those coming up in just a moment. Phone number is 800-765-8255. Governor Morrisey was in Berkeley County this morning for the announcement of advanced defense manufacturer Helsing and an investment into the Eastern Panhandle. MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny was there, and he joins us from MetroNews affiliate WEPM this morning. Hey, Brad.
Hello, I am here at the Hoppy Kercheval building, and there is a likeness of Hoppy Kercheval in the front entrance, not life-size, but it's sort of bronzed on the wall. So I, first thing, of course, bowed down and expressed my thanks
Kiss the
to
ring.
the Dean of West Virginia Broadcasting. But here I am, so it's pleasant to be here, and just across the way, yes, Governor Patrick Morrisey made another economic development announcement, led that announcement. It is, if you're on MetroNews Television, the manufacturer Helsing, which is based in Munich, Germany. It's a European defense technology company, and they're going to do advanced manufacturing in West Virginia. It is a $50 million investment, high-paying jobs for those who are employed here, and about 2,000 drones a month going to be made and produced in the Berkeley County area. What this is all new to me, so forgive me. And it's also kind of, it's what I'm about to describe is STEM technology, science, math, and that kind of thing. But Helsing is going to do artificial intelligence and autonomous military systems. And they aim their products, of course, at democracies around the world. So the kind of drone that you may see related to Helsing has been apparently used in battle in Ukraine, battle tested, they called it. And now such products, particularly a HX2 strike zone, is going to be made here in West Virginia.
How did Helsing find West Virginia, Brad? How did they find the Panhandle within West Virginia? What brought them here?
We often hear about West Virginia's key location on the East Coast, and I think proximity to Washington, D.C. and defense contractors likely worked in West Virginia's favor here. It is so the one of the top figures at Helsing, Jennifer McCardle. She's the U.S. General Manager. And she talked about West Virginia's aggressive and speed to delivery approach to luring Helsing to the state, but also talked about the workforce. In addition to having a key location, the Eastern Panhandle, starting with Procter & Gamble, has been a key location of manufacturing growth in the state. And alongside that has been Blue Ridge Community and Technical College, which has catered to this kind of instruction of employees. And today's event was not at the location Helsing is choosing, but instead at Blue Ridge Community and Technical College, symbolizing West Virginia's preparedness operations for this kind of advanced manufacturing.
MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny with us from Martinsburg this morning. So, Brad, what does this mean in terms of number of jobs and the number of potential jobs from this investment?
60 high-skilled full-time jobs, an average salary, Helsing says, of $125,000. That's a pretty good figure for West Virginia. Going to produce 2,000 drones a month, and it's a $50 million initial setup here in Berkeley County. Of course, with all these things, you hope that the business itself will grow. So maybe that's just a start, you would hope. But also, if West Virginia proves to be potentially a hotbed, if this is a groundswell of this kind of advanced manufacturing in the area, you'd hope to get more of it.
Talk about timeline. When will these start to roll off? What have you heard?
You've hit upon a question where I don't know the answer.
That's okay.
Not tomorrow. Not tomorrow.
MetroNews statewide correspondent Brad McElhinny. That is the lead story over at WVMetroNews.com. Brad, Governor Morrisey also is making an economic development announcement last week as well. So he's had a couple of weeks here where he's had good economic news.
Yeah, this was Power Flow Solutions, which has been headquartered just across the river in Marietta. but it is yet another technology firm. Power Flow Solutions manufactures critical electrical infrastructure that supports data centers, artificial intelligence, and other advanced technologies. So don't get alarmed, everybody, not data centers themselves, but the stuff that goes into the data centers. That's a $20 million investment in the Williamstown area, and it's going to be on the former site of Hino Motors in Williamstown. Hino has moved to the Mineral Wells area, so you get Hino still surviving and thriving in Mineral Wells, but now this new Power Flow Solutions taking up shop in its former Williamstown location.
I want to turn to the Greenbrier. I feel like we need some kind of hotkey, Dave, that has a soap style theme when we go to Brad on this. You call it, I think, Days of Our. I'll call it Greenbrier Light instead of Guiding Light or Guiding Greenbrier. I'll try that. Brad, what's going on? What's the latest with the Greenbrier?
Well, so the Greenbrier volunteered to do a status report, and what they've got at hand is a potential $500 million financing deal, taking out a huge loan to pay down other debts. This is in the zone of the federal court case where the affiliate of Omni Hotel and Resorts has sued the Greenbrier over debt that it holds. What the Greenbrier has said is that the company that's providing the $500 million in financing, they say it's good to go. But there are a couple more things. The judge in the case, in the federal case, has set a deadline of this week, 3 days from now, to get this thing done, or let's get the show on the road with this conflict in federal court. The lawyers for the Greenbrier say that there are two potential big hangups. One is whether the affiliate of Omni will accept the money and under what terms. They say that they have reached out for a pay down number. Don't know where that stands, but it's still out there. Is there going to be an acceptance by the owners of Omni? The other is the Greenbrier is one of 5 entities in West Virginia with a casino license. And I mean, you don't just make a handshake deal to transfer a casino license. If there's any percent change in the ownership of the Greenbrier, well, they're going to have to explain that, talk lottery through how it would work, assure lottery that all of the entities are financially feasible. And my understanding is that lottery now has a lot of that information in hand, but the Greenbrier in its status report has said, we still need lottery to sign off on this. And finally, because of the outstanding significant elements, told the judge in this case, we may need an extension beyond Thursday, July 16th. Then you get into an area where it's Judge Frank Volk. He had already said maybe 6 weeks ago, I'm going to give you a certain amount of time, but your leash is going to run short if you need to extend beyond that. And we're getting to that point.
Like sands through an hourglass. So are the days of the Greenbrier. Brad, always appreciate the update. You can read more about Helsing over at the website and the investment there in Berkeley County at WVMetroNews.com. Does the little Hoppy bronze likeness, does it follow you? Does it have like live eyes that follow you around the building, Brad?
Oh, like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
No, but it does have, I think, mystical powers. So when I go out, I'm going to rub its forehead and make a wish.
Brad McElhinny from the studios of Metro News affiliate WEPM this morning. Brad, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Take a break. Be back. 304 Talk 304. That is the text line, 800-765-8255. The phone number. CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet is probably right at your front door. Now is the perfect time to connect. Local customer support you can trust. Perfect for working from home, streaming, or even gaming. Fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects. Back in a moment. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Picture a community where every space tells a story. Those are the communities we're designing at ZLM Architects and Engineers. With a blend of creativity and technical expertise, we design spaces that inspire, innovate, and ignite change. From cutting-edge educational facilities to community-centric gathering spaces, we're committed to improving lives through design. Let us help you shape a brighter future for generations to come. Because at ZLM, it's more than architecture. It's about building your legacy.
Approach your retirement with confidence. With over 150 years of combined experience, the advisors of the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group provide advice and wealth management strategies to individuals, families, small businesses, professional offices, and institutions. With the Stike team, you'll have access to an advising team with extensive resources, a client-first mindset, and a passion for helping transform the lives of those we serve. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike today and join the team that's dedicated to your success.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
We're going to spend a little more time on this tomorrow. In fact, I think we may even have Southern Dave of Dave Allen fame joining us to talk about this. But over the weekend, when news broke of Senator Lindsey Graham's death, the South Carolina senator passing away at 71. TJ, if you were bold enough to get on social media, unfortunately, social media put on display some of the worst of people over the last couple of days.
I'm going to be really honest with you and Dave. Well, Dave Allen, as you said, we'll talk about this, but I had gotten off social media. I came back when I started working here. I felt I kind of had to. I don't know that my life's better for that, Dave. Just put it that way. I really don't. I mean, the amount of vitriol, pure venom being spewed. Our country is in a bad way. And we have lost the ability to be civil. And it's more than just being cruel. It's more than just being mean. Our system is set up to function properly, and it can only do so if civility is a guarantee from the populace. The founders baked that in with the understanding that it would be there. It's an essential ingredient. And it's not today. And, of course, the second I opened my mouth, well, you never said anything about what Trump said about Bob Mueller. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I wrote a commentary about it. That was deplorable as well. So it turns into this, my side is better than your side. And if you didn't do this, the whataboutism, and it just spirals to the point where it gets out of control. And it's frankly not only disappointing, not only harmful, but just downright depressing.
Like I said, we're going to spend a little more time on this tomorrow when we have some more time, because friend of the show, well, sort of, Dave Allen, declared that he was going to hop off social media, but he can tell you more about that. He's got his own show to do such things. Come up a little bit later, but we'll bring him into the conversation tomorrow. You can read TJ's commentary right now over at the website, WVMetroNews.com. Texter says, hey, guys, that's nice, but wake me up when they build something in the southern half of the state, ... says the texter. Okay, TJ Meadows, venture capitalist. Here's the problem. Would you invest right now? Okay, let me ask this. Where in the southern half of the state would you make this type of an investment? If you're Helsing and you're looking at sites, where in the southern half of the part of the state would you make this type of investment?
I've got to find enough flat land to build the facility to be able to construct these drones. I need reasonable utilities. In other words, access. I'm not talking about pricing or anything, but I'm going to need electric. I may need water, obviously, all of the things that I need. So not only do I have to find the flat land, the Venn diagram has to line up with utility availability. I need roads or rail or water to ship these, because last I checked, thankfully, we're not flying drones up in West Virginia and blowing things up. So I have to get them to a battlefield somewhere, probably in the Ukraine or Europe, wherever these things are going to be used and housed and stored, or on military bases here domestically, none of which we have in West Virginia. The Panhandle hits a lot of those check marks, Dave. I mean, you can check your list off as you go. And I asked this texter the same question: where? And I hate to be this way, but capital doesn't care about your feelings. It's not going to invest in southern West Virginia if it can't get what it needs. I don't know that it can.
304 Talk 304, that is the text line, 800-765-8255. Texter says, I'll never get back that 15 minutes with Roane County Schools. No one understands the school aid formula. Then that's the point. And that's what we've been hammering at for, what, a year? Over a year now? The school aid formula is antiquated. Section State Code, what is it, 18A, Chapter 18A of State Code, that is 100 years, roughly, of law that has been added to and added to and added to the point now where we've asked the Roane County Schools to reduce staff, reduce cost, get that deficit under control, and by doing so may now actually face a penalty because of state code that has been added to over the course, let's say 80 years, maybe not full 100. It's time to look at all that. It's no easy task. You're not going to get a consensus on all of it, but if we're going to balance this out with public schools and school choice, right now the playing field's not level, TJ. It's not level. Public schools are so hamstrung by what I like to call the Gutenberg Bible of regulations on them.
I've been wanting to write a piece about Chapter 18 and 18A. And so while I was on vacation, again, the nerd that I am, I thought I'll go read the code. The code in and of itself in the West Virginia Code is not that cumbersome. It's maybe 20 pages or something. It's not that bad. The problem is all of the administrative law that has stemmed, there's this thing called legislative rulemaking. The legislature directs an agency to promulgate a rule that will be accepted as law. When you go to the Secretary of State's website and you pull those, this is where the Gutenberg Bible comes from. My goodness. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of PDFs, and each PDF has hundreds, if not thousands, of pages. And I read a couple, and I came away with more questions than I had going in, and nobody that could really answer them. And I want to be able to write a piece, and I want to be able to say, I have read all of the administrative law. I'll see you when my son graduates high school in about 10 years. How? And then Stellato brings up this example that she did today. She is reducing costs, living within the budget, running the school system like a business because she was asked to do that. It's mandated. You can't go bankrupt. And we're going to penalize her $1.44 million for doing that. And at the same time, we have some in the legislature that are saying, we need more control of schools. We need to be able to approve more things. The Board of Education shouldn't run the school system. We should. Well, guess what? That $1.44 million penalty that she's talking about came from Chapter 18. So you're telling me you want more control? Do you want to run it further in the ground than it already is? I can't wrap my mind around it, man. I have to be honest with you. If I were an administrator, I'd quit. I'd say, you have charged me with a task that is impossible. Therefore, I'm going to go do something else.
304 Talk 304, the text line. Come back. We'll wrap it up on a Monday right after this.
West Virginia's grid is old, overloaded, and falling behind. That means fewer jobs, less investment, and a future we can't afford to risk. Valley Link and Marl are the fix. Modern transmission lines that strengthen reliability, attract manufacturing, and put West Virginians to work. Investment here, jobs here, a more reliable, stronger grid right here. Learn more at powerwvnow.org. Paid for by West Virginians for reliable and affordable energy. Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
Sportsline on Metro News Television.
One of the ladies asked me in the forum if I know how to drive in the snow. I told her, oh yeah, I spent 5 years in Elkin.
See, that's one of those things. I mean, you're moving. This is basically coming back to Florida here when you get to Fairmont. I mean, this is easy.
It's going to be a breeze.
Jackpots are growing in West Virginia. Jackpots are on the rise every week. Powerball hits Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Mega Millions lights up Tuesdays and Fridays. That's 5 chances a week to get in on life-changing jackpots. Play in-store and online. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Powerball is $478 million this week. Mega Millions jackpot is $637 million. So go ahead, play today. Texter says at 304-TALK-304, the legislature has intentionally done this to hamstring public schools so they look bad and they can justify the money to private schools. That would imply the legislature, this current legislature or any legislature in the last, let's say, 10 years, wrote the education code. The education code's been in place a long time and added to over the course, like I said, of almost 100 years here. So are there some in there that I do believe wouldn't mind to see public schools struggle? Yeah, I do believe that, but you can't lay this all on the current legislature. Teachers' unions will fight changes to 18A. We haven't actually talked to Dale Lee or Christy Skidmore in a while. Maybe it's time to get them on, ask them what they think. But they have had influence on that administrative law that you're talking about, TJ. Certainly they've had influence on that over the last, again, 80 years of adding to all this.
It's got to be part of the conversation, though. Just talking about the finance formula, that's not going to get it done. I mean, we need holistic change here, I believe.
Well, it's got to start somewhere, though, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And the only way that's why I keep bringing up the school aid formula, because if you're dependent on student enrollment's not going up. Maybe in a couple of counties, Berkeley County, where they're looking at building another high school over there in the Panhandle, but every place else, it's not going up. And if you're depending on more students to increase your revenue, that's not a good business model. All right, it's going to do it for us today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Senator Shelley Moore Capito is scheduled to join us. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.